So to get started with building responsive emails inside of RapidWeaver, let's create our first RapidWeaver project and add a stacks page, and then we're going to set up the email stacks for use in the rest of this course. So I'm going to rename this as an email template, like so. And then what you want to do is create an email stacks group. So to do that, search for the email stacks inside of your library and ensure the only ones that you select here are the email stacks from Joe Workman. So you'll see here we have email content, email layout, and email utilities. Make sure these are the only stacks that you have selected here. Then right click on those and add to a group. Now I've already created an email group, however you might want to go ahead and create a new group and call that one email. So I've already added these to the email group down here, and you'll see that those are the only stacks inside of there. Now this is important because throughout this course the only stacks we're going to be using are the email stacks. We can't use any other stacks that are provided or installed inside of your stacks library. Okay, once you've done that, the first thing we're going to do is add the style stack. Now this is a required stack for all of the pages or all of the emails in your project. So every time you create a new email template, you need to first add this style stack. So let's drag and drop that onto the page. And then you'll notice here that we get this little warning that says we haven't completed the implementation checklist. So let's open up the page inspector and go through each one of these now. So the first thing we need to do is set the email theme. So to do that, we open up the themes drawer, we search for email, and we select that theme there. Once we've done that, we can check off that item. Next, we need to disable all the advanced general settings. So go to the general settings here, scroll to the bottom, click on advanced, and uncheck all of these items here. Then we can go back and check off that. The next thing we need to do is set the title to the subject and the slogan to the description. So go to the general settings in the page inspector and set a browser title. Now we're just going to use some template content for now, and we'll update this later on in the course. So we'll set the browser title there, and then we'll set the slogan down here, like so. Then we can go back and check off those two items. Next, you might need to set the web address. Now the web address is set up inside of the general settings and then the web address field here. So for this project we are using rapidweaveremail.com. However, you'll need to enter your domain name obviously into this field. Now before you do that, I want to explain whether you actually need to enter or set up the web address for your project. Now setting up the web address is only required if you're going to publish your email project to your server. Now the only reason that you want to publish your email project to a server is if you're using drag and drop email support and you want to host the images on your server. So we're going to go in depth into images later on in the course. However, for now, what I would suggest is that you just enter your domain name into the web address and then check the item here. As I say, we will explain this further, but essentially what's going to happen is when you add an image into RapidWeaver, that image needs to be hosted somewhere, and you have a couple of different options. So you can either host it yourself on your domain name, or you can have the email service that you're using host it for you. So for example, with MailChimp, you can upload a zip of images and HTML to that service and they will host the images for you. However, in some cases you might want to host the images on your own domain name. And if you are going to do that, you do need to set up the web address and enter the URL or your domain name into the web address field in the general settings. Anyway, as I say, we will go more in depth into that later on in this course. So let's move on. Now the next item, or the final item, is that we are only using email stacks, and yes, we are doing that. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we aren't going to be using, or we're not allowed to use, any other stacks inside of these email templates. So check that option and you will see that the warning disappeared, and now we're ready to start building our first template.